Well, boys and girls, after our invigorating first series that's basically showed projections from the beginning of the year and talked about every team out there, we are now on to a new series, and I know you're on the edge of your seat, for mid-year projections. This series, we're going to look at where teams have been. We're going to look at some of the projections or some of the predictions I made up until now, why they have or have not been accurate. We're going to look at individual players and how they look for in the future for your fantasy drafts and so on and so forth like that. So it's going to be exciting times. And all of this will, of course, be happening at when I feel like at a clock, semi-daily, whatever. We start, of course, with the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. And the Anaheim last segment to my talk on the Anaheim Mighty Ducks focused a lot on the fact that I believe that Getzlaf is not really a first-line center. And I still believe that. They're sitting right around where I said they likely would be. Probably, I had them just barely making the playoffs in the 7 to 8 spot, and I still think that's likely where it's going to go. They're going on in the future, what they can do now, or what they should do, or maybe even what they will do. And if I think in this case, it's likely what they will do, is they have to improve their forward group, especially wingers, and that's probably going to have to come from the defense side of things. I'm sure, I don't know if you follow hockey to a great extent, it's not really much secret that Fowler's been on the trading block for most of the year, or at least people have been saying that he has been on the trading block, and that makes a lot of sense since they have Montador and Theodore, who are both looking like excellent prospects coming up in their system, on basically ready to burst in. And they have Vatanen and Lindholm just signed. Pretty much gives them a vote of confidence that they're sticking around, and so should they. They are fantastic defensemen. So what they're trying to do is find a place for Fowler. The difficult part of that is Fowler's underlying numbers are not that great. He's been putting up some decent points. He's good. He's not too bad at for shots going towards the other goaltender, but his shot suppression isn't very well, and his possession isn't very good. So pretty much that leaves him as a 5-6 defenseman and a power play specialist. Those defensemen do have value, but not necessarily the value that you're going to need to get yourself a second line or first line left winger. You might be able to find a team out there that that has his perceived value is higher than what it is. You might want to look at the Vancouvers or some of the other teams that don't seem to be looking at analytics too much, maybe the Islanders. However, those teams don't really have left wingers to offer either. There has been a rumor about Nyquist out of Detroit, and that makes a lot of sense since Nyquist's perceived value is fairly low right now. Fowler is probably, that's the kind of player that you're going to get. It's a little bit risky of a left winger. You go to your staff and say, what do you figure you can do with this guy to get the best out of him? They say, yeah, I think we can do something with him. Bring him in here and we'll give it a shot. The reason why that deal might not have happened is because Detroit likes to stick to its players quite a bit. They like to give them every inch they can give. They probably, I think I actually heard this is true, that they've made the least trades in the last 7 years, and that makes a lot of sense because one of the reasons why they've been so successful is that they have loyalty to the players that they do have, and they very seldom give up on them, if ever, actually. But that's pretty much what Anaheim has left. And honestly, if that's what you have left to do, your future's looking a little grim. You're going to be, they're in danger of getting stuck in that position where you're getting middle round draft picks and just barely making the playoffs for quite some time. That being said, for your fantasy guys, you have Richie, who has been having a good first half, and he has the strength, I think, now probably to continue on doing so. I don't think his point percentage is going to increase too much, but he should keep up the pace that he's at. Another guy you want to look at for your fantasy drafts is Lindholm. I think he only has 5 or 6 points right now. And Carlisle is a coach who likes to put offense all through his 4 lines. However, Anaheim's having trouble scoring. And a lot of the reason for that is, like I was saying in the last segment with Getzlaf, is their top 2 lines are just not really strong enough to compete with the top 2 lines of other forwards. And what I believe will happen is Lindholm is being used in the defensive mode right now. They actually use him with a shutdown line with Cogliano, Silverberg, and Kessler, I believe, or something like that. Now those guys put up points, but they also play against the top players on other teams, and that leaves Lindholm playing a lot on the defensive end of things. I think you're going to see him play much more in the offensive end of things in the second half, because Carlisle is going to have to start competing a little more with the top 2 lines, with his top 2 lines. So that would be a big one for me. Silverberg, also, I think is going to get more offensive chances. He's got something around heading for a 50-point season right now, which is actually really good for the type of game he's being asked to play. But I think you're going to see him in more offensive chances as well. That's my full 42, and it's also Nutella o'clock right now. That's a new one for me. I'm taking on the Nutella, and I'm going to have to probably get myself a U-Haul for the Jaime's Body Lube Nutella that's going to be going through my home in the next couple months. I absolutely and totally love Nutella. Boston's next. Make sure you press the like button. Subscribe to my YouTube, please. Not just for me, but for all the small children in the world. They need help. The large children, well, nobody really cares about them anyways, but the small children, they need help. Subscribe, like, view. Love y'all. Have a great day.